So now it's time to work on our main function. So let's create that function, and obviously I'm going to be creating that function here in the main.py. So here I'm going to say, let me first give myself some space here, and then I'm going to zoom in, and let's create that function. Def, and then I'm going to name it main scraper, and it's going to take, obviously it's going to take the URL that we want to get that we want to make a request to and get data from. And then the second parameter is the project or directory in which we want to store the data that we will get. For example, here we have a directory called wiki. For example, if you want to get data from Wikipedia, then you can create a directory called wiki or something like that. So we need to pass the path or directory. I'm gonna here name it directory in order to make it clear for you. Directory, or you can name it path. And then once we pass these two parameters, as I have shown you earlier, the first thing that we want to do is that we want to make a request. But before making a request, we want to make sure that this directory exists. Therefore, we want to call the create directory. This create directory will, first of all, will check if that directory exists or not. If it exists, then it's not going to create it again. If it doesn't, then it's going to create that directory. So we need first to call this function create directory. So let me call it here from here, and then I'm going to pass the directory. And then after we do that, we want to make a request. So we want here to make an HTTP request. So I'm going to say here requests.get, and then we need to pass our URL. And after we pass the URL, we will get the source code from that website. So I'm going to store the result in a variable called source code, which is going to be equal to this. And then after that, we just need to get the text, because this source code that we will get, that will be returned from the request get, is very confusing and very, very difficult to read for humans. Therefore, we want to get the text, only the text. So I'm going to say here source code.text, and then I'm going to store the result in a new variable called text, or source text. Source underscore text is going to be equal to this, to the source code.text. And then the next step after making a request is using Beautiful Soup in order to clean that text and get a specific tag or specific text from that source. But before we continue, let's just test this function with this code only and see what's going to happen. So here I'm going to call this function main scraper, and I'm going to pass. Let's test with my website https commoncode.com, and the directory, I'm going to name it common code. And let me now save and run our script. So now if I run our script, python main.py, and hit enter, guess what? What's gonna happen is that this main scraper will make a request, and then we'll create a new folder on the left side. As you can see, a new folder has been created, and this request has been made, but we did not print the result, so we can print the result here. Let me print the result here just for testing. I'm gonna say here print, and then I'm gonna pass the source text and save and run our script again. And if you run your script again, this folder will not be created one more time. So let me hit enter, and as you can see, what you are gonna get is that you are gonna get the the complete text from my website, the complete source code, but it's only going to return the text, which is a little cleaner than the source code, but it's very, very long. As you can see, a lot of tags. So this is how how it works. This is how you can make a request and then get the text and then store it in a source text. But this is just the only first step. The second step is Beautiful Soup, is using Beautiful Soup in order to get specific tag or tags from that website. So now in my website, suppose that you want to get the title of this article. So first of all, we need to kind of open the console in order to be able to know the details about that specific title of that article or post. So in the elements, not the console, in the elements, you can here click on inspect in order to go immediately to the to that specific text or that specific tag. So that tag, as you can see, it's actually, let me zoom in. It's actually it's an A tag. It's an anchor tag, and it has this text. So in order to get its data, first we need to access the header, which has a class of entry a hyphen header and then entry hyphen title. So we need here in our project, what we need to do, we need to use Beautiful Soup. So first of all, we need to create an object of Beautiful Soup, and then we pass the source text, and then the second parameter is html.parser, and we store this object in a variable called soup, and then we can use that soup in order to get what we want. So what I want to get is that I want to get, as I told you, I want to get this A tag, which is this 5 steps to get a job as a freelance developer. So here I'm gonna say find all, and then I'm gonna pass the name of the tag, which is the header, and then it has a class of entry header. So header here, and then comma, and then the class is entry. And be careful here, the syntax is a little bit tricky. So here entry header, entry header. So here entry header, and after that we can store the result or print out the result or loop over all of these headers. But first let's print the list that we will get, because this is gonna find out all, not only one article, but all articles. So it's gonna get all of the headers of these articles. Let me save and run our script. If you run the script again, Python 3 and then main.py, and hit enter, and as you can see, it's gonna get all of the articles, but now it doesn't look good because we are using it here. Let's run the script from Sublime Text. So I'm gonna run it here and check out the result. As you can see, the result here, we have a list, and inside that list we have header. This is the first header, and inside that header we have lots of articles. So we have the first article here, 5 steps. As you can see, 5 steps to get a job as a freelance developer, and then we have 6 tools every web developer must have. Let me show you that in my website. 5 steps to get a job as a freelance developer, and then 6 tools every web developer must have, and then 5 reasons why you should choose Laravel. And here we have, as you can see, 5 reasons why you should choose Laravel. So we got all of the articles in the first page. Let me now loop over all of these articles. So instead of printing out this list, let me loop over this this list. So I'm going to store this list in a variable called articles or titles, or let's say articles, and it's going to be equal to this list. And then you can here use the for and then a in articles. And then for each article, you can print out a specific thing. So instead of printing out everything, instead of printing out the complete a tag, you can just get the text from that a tag. So you can here say a for article and then dot a, which is the anchor tag, and then dot text. Let me save and run. And as you can see now, we will only get the titles of these articles. So as you can see, 5 steps to get a job as a freelance developer, and then 6 tools every web developer must have, and then 5 reasons why you should choose Laravel, and then how to easily find work on freelance websites, and then why multitasking is not good for programmers. So we were able to get the title of each of these articles in my website. So as you can see, it's awesome. Just with a push of a button, we were able to get all of these titles.